welcome back to my channel, guys. Today I will be watching a few videos. I'm going to be reacting to this one, False Swipe Gaming's video on how good was Wailord actually. Let's get into it.
The patrons have spoken once again, and this time they've chosen Wailord. For a long time, this was the biggest Pokemon in the game, at a whopping 47 feet and 7 inches, or 14.5 meters. It was displaced by Eternatus in Generation 8, but it still stands head and shoulders above pretty much everything else, with the next largest Pokemon, Alolan Exeggutor, coming in at a comparatively paltry 35 feet 9 inches, or 10.9 meters. There was nothing quite like playing Pokemon Coliseum and being completely overwhelmed by the sheer size of Pokemon's Moby Dick when it was sent out by that one trainer in the Under, and then realizing that even that gargantuan beast was resized for it to fit the battlefield. In Pokemon Battle Revolution, its colossal true size is on display, and in addition to being a requirement for the Reggie puzzle in Gen 3 alongside Relicanth, we are also obligated to mention one of the greatest Pokemon mysteries, Wailord's ability to breed with none other than Skitty. Today we'll be examining if Wailord's competitive history lived up to its enormous physical size. And so, we ask, how good was Wailord actually? And in this video, we'll be going over these competitive formats. Believe it or not, Wailord did not have a case of the unfortunately in its debut generation. It actually had the slightest of slight niches in OU. Now make no mistake, it didn't receive serious use or anything, as it was heavily flawed, but it did have its place, however small. Its niche was centered around the idea that it not only packed both an immensely powerful stab water move in Water Spout, but also had the thoroughly unique quality of packing self-destruct, which no other water type in the game did. These two weapons, excellent as they were, combined to give Wailord some real offensive threat potential. Water Spout's immense strength against nearly all neutral targets forced the opponent to switch to a Water Resist or Blissey. Many offensive teams did not pack either, or packed what was basically a non-resist in the Ice Beam fearing Salamence. As such, they took incredible damage when switching in. Makeshift water switchings like Zapdos and Jolteon got absolutely destroyed. Even the likes of Natural Special Check, Snorlax, and Regice couldn't switch in safely. Both were 3-hit KO'd in Sandstorm. Of course, even if the opponent did have Blissey or a Water Resist like Suicune or Celebi, they definitely weren't safe, as after luring them in, Wailord would blow up on them, cleaving open a path for one of its offensively minded teammates to abuse. Of course, while Wailord had great potential upside, it also came with some serious drawbacks. It was difficult to get the most out of it, given its lackluster speed and bulk that severely impeded its ability to switch in, especially if it wanted to get off fully powerful Water Spouts, and even that could be hampered by the popular combination of spikes in conjunction with Sandstorm. However, Wailord was not entirely beholden to Water Spout. It could still launch a strong Hydro Pump that was just as powerful as Suicune's, and while its speed wasn't incredible, it was just as fast as offensive Swampert, which got the jump on much of the slower end of the metagame. Wailord's good attack stat and the fact no normal resist really wanted to switch into it also meant that its self-destruct was a good move to ensure that it extracted some value from itself. Plus, though it had trouble finding switching opportunities, the few it did have were highly valuable. Wailord was able to scare out the #1 Pokemon in the tier, Tyranitar, and though it didn't want to come into any attacks, double switching into T-Tar would lead to an immensely rewarding Water Spout. Additionally, Wailord could use another unique trait, Water Veil, to pivot into one of the tier's most difficult moves to switch into, Will-O-Wisp. Now, it wouldn't want to stay in on the move's primary user, Gengar, but it could draw a Thunderbolt for a teammate to switch into, while it would scare out the other popular user of the move, Moltres. It may have been small, but nevertheless, Wailord could say that it did have a niche in advanced OU. Wailord wasn't able to match the vast, multifaceted utility of the many popular and effective water types in UU, like Amistar, Tentacruel, Walrein, Lantern, Blastoise, Sharpedo, and Feraligatr. It was an example of that rarest of phenomena, where the Pokemon is better in OU than UU. However, in NU it didn't have such competition, because it was the competition. Advanced NU Wailord was the standard by which all other water types were judged. Depending on which set it ran, it was either the best offensive or defensive water type in the tier, and one of the very best Pokemon around overall. It was able to fit in on just about any type of team, and had enormous usage as a result. As an offensive threat, it was nearly impossible to wall even without self-destruct, since Ice Beam and Hidden Power Electric tore through the tier's resist to Hydro Pump, which plowed through neutral targets. Of course, being able to blow up was the cherry on top for what was considered by some players to be the scariest offensive threat in the tier, period. There was pretty much nothing that could challenge